Welcome back to Technical Knockout, the MMA podcast. I'm your host, as always, Hussein, and today we are going to be talking about who we think the UFC champion will be by the end of 2025. Now, if you follow this podcast pretty closely, you'll know that we did the end-of-year awards show relatively recently, and in that I had a segment on who was most likely to win the belt next year. So obviously those guys are going to be shoo-ins for who I think will end the year as champion, but not necessarily. They might not keep the belt till next year. Was most likely to win the belt, not keep the belt. So we're going to talk about how we think the divisions are going to develop over the course of 2025. Obviously taking into account what fights are already scheduled, who is injured, what champion matches up with who, the best or the worst, you know what I mean, all those things. But I am going to do this relatively fast-paced because I want to keep your attention. So let's start off with the women's divisions. We'll get them out of the way first. We will do women's strawweight, naturally, as that is the lightest women's division. So we have Zhang Weili as a champion right now, and she is scheduled to face Tatiana Suarez in the first quarter of next year. I do believe that Weili will beat Suarez. I think she is too much for Suarez right now. I think Suarez is a great wrestler. Tatiana is a great wrestler. She's also very injury prone and also not a great striker, and she's shown some really bad cardio too in the past. When she's not completely dominating the fight, she tends to gas out in that third round, and if she's scheduled for 5 against Weili, who has shown us time and time again that she can go the full 5 rounds no problem, I think Weili's going to have some great success in those later rounds. So I think Weili will beat Suarez, and given that Weili has kind of been on the same track of fighting once a year since she's been the champion, I think she retains her belt at the end of 2025. Now, I do believe Yan Xiaonan versus Verna Jandiroba is going to take place some point as well in 2025, and whenever that fight goes down, whoever wins that, I believe, has a great chance of beating Weili. I just don't think that they will get the opportunity to fight Weili before the year is over. If they do, I think they could beat her. Weili's starting to age out, in my opinion. So for now, let's take Weili to finish 2025 as the strawweight queen. Now, at women's flyweight, right now we have Valentina Shevchenko as the champion. She, regained her belt against Grasso in their last fight at the Sphere. Very dominant performance from Shevchenko, but didn't really show us anything new. Just showed us that she's a great wrestler, which we've always known. My opinion, who will be the champion at the end of flyweight will not be Valentina. I think Manon Fiorot is going to be the women's flyweight champion at the end of 2025. I believe Manon Fiorot will beat Valentina Shevchenko if and when they fight. I think she is a better striker as it stands today than Valentina is. I think Valentina's lost a lot of her speed and reflexes, and her style is very dependent on those tools, on those natural abilities. So Manon Fiorot, who is a younger, hungrier fighter, is going to be able to beat her to the punch, in my opinion, physically and metaphorically. And I think she has good enough movement and takedown defense to stop the grappling threat of Shevchenko. And we've seen in the case of the Jennifer Maia fight, in the case of the, the Tyler Santos fight, if you can negate Valentina's grappling, her striking becomes worse. And that's kind of where I see the Manon Fiorot fight going. I think Valentina is one of those fighters who needs to put everything together in order to have her game work. Unless she's fighting somebody who has a severe deficiency in the grappling department, like Grasso showed in her last fight. So give me Manon Fiorot to finish 2025 as flyweight queen. I think she beats Valentina when they fight, probably in the first half, and then defends the belt against Grasso or Barber, one of these cats, and finishes them as well. Next, you have women's bantamweight. You have Juliana Pena as the champion right now, and she's scheduled to fight Kayla Harrison at some point next year. It's the fight that everybody wants to see. I do think Kayla Harrison will beat her, and I think hot take, Amanda Nunes will come out of retirement and fight Kayla Harrison or Juliana Pena, whoever wins that fight. But I think it's going to be Harrison. And I think Amanda Nunes will end 2025 as champion. I know it's crazy, but she's teased coming back, and I still think that even as she has gotten older and it looks like she's kind of slowed down in those last few performances before she retired, I do think that she's still better than Kayla Harrison. And I think Kayla Harrison's better than Juliana Pena, so I'm going to take Nunes to finish 2025 as champion. Call me crazy, I don't care. Now we're going to go to the men's divisions. We're going to start with men's flyweight. We have Alexandre Pantoja at the top of the division, and it really seems like a tough pillar to knock over in flyweight. He's beaten most of the top 10. There's a good chance we see him fight Kai Kara France next. If not, maybe Royval again, or one of these guys at the top 5 of the division. They're doing Royval versus Manel Kape, and I think that Royval will beat him, and I think Royval will lose to Pantoja again. I think it'll be a lot closer this time, but I think Pantoja still has his number. If Kai Kara France fights Pantoja, I think that's a little bit of a closer matchup, but I'm going to take Pantoja to finish 2025 as champion. My hot take would be for Steve Usyk to go on a redemption arc, but I really don't think it's going to happen. Next, we have men's bantamweight. Now, this is the one that is a little bit up in air for me. Umar Nurmagomedov is set to fight Merab Dvalishvili in January, in just a couple weeks, rather. And I believe he will win. I think Umar is going to beat Merab Dvalishvili. I have a video coming out very shortly on why and how. But I expect Umar to beat Merab, and I think he'll defend the belt again before the end of the year, probably in Abu Dhabi again in October or so. And I think in 2025 we see Umar Nurmagomedov finish the year as bantamweight champion. Going to featherweight, you have Ilia Topuria as the champion right now, and coming off of the 2 best wins in modern MMA history over Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway, both by knockout. Ilia looks to be a really tough cookie to crumble at the top of featherweight. He has talked about going up to lightweight. He says he wants to fight a lightweight contender and then fight for the belt. If he does that, he'll leave the division, obviously, and I think we see Diego Lopez or Movsar Evloev become the champion. If he stays at featherweight, if Ilia stays at featherweight, I fully expect him to beat everybody in front of him, and I do think he's going to end up staying at featherweight, and I think he's going to end 2025 as the featherweight champion. If he does go up to lightweight, though, I take Diego Lopez. I think Lopez will beat Movsar Evloev in a rematch, and I honestly really like his chances to beat Volkanovski as well, just because I feel like Volkanovski is getting more and more chinny as the years go on, and that really scares me against a power puncher like Diego Lopez. Next, we have lightweight. Islam Makhachev at the top and pound for pound number 1, ending 2024 as pound for pound number 1. He's set to fight Arman Tsarukyan in a couple weeks as well, and I really don't know who to pick in that fight. I feel like Islam should win. I think he's more potent than Arman, but Arman is so dangerous everywhere, and I think it's going to be a really, really high-level fight. That being said, I feel like Islam's going to win. I think he just has a little bit more breadth to his game, the power, like I said, and just the more potency in every facet. So I'm going to take Islam to beat Arman, and I think he'll probably defend the belt again before the end of the year, maybe against Oliveira, but we'll see. So give me Islam Makhachev to finish 2025 as lightweight champion as well. Now, welterweight, we have Belal Muhammad at the top of the heap, and it's looking more likely that he's going to fight Shavkat Rakhmonov at some point in 2025 when he heals up from his bone infection and everything. I do think he beats Shavkat. After that Gary versus Shavkat fight, I am not as high on Shavkat as I was before that fight, and I think Belal can exploit a lot of the holes in Shavkat's game, namely his cardio, namely his defensive wrestling, and I think we see Muhammad beat Shavkat in the first half of the year, and then in the second half of the year, I think he takes on one of either Sean Brady, Joaquin Buckley, or Jack Della Maddalena, depending on how their fights go throughout the year. And I think he beats either one of those guys. So I'm going to take Belal Muhammad to keep the belt through 2025. I think we might see a little bit of an activity from him coming off of that bone surgery and everything. But I believe he'll defend against Shavkat. And then if not, fight again. If he does fight again, I think he'll beat whoever they put in front of him. So I like Belal to finish 2025 as welterweight champion. Now, I know I went with the incumbent in the last 3 divisions, but this is where things are going to start to get a little bit mixy. Middleweight, we have Dricus du Plessis at the top of the division. It's really hard for me to see him lose to Sean Strickland. Considering how their first fight went, I think Strickland fought to his full potential, and Duplessis could have done a few things differently. So I expect Duplessis to get it done in the rematch. But I do think that Khamzat Chimaev is, he's waiting in the wings, and there's a great chance that he beats Duplessis or Strickland or anybody else. Now, I think Duplessis is Khamzat's toughest fight at middleweight. I think he's a horse, and he's going to be tough to take down and hold down in that first round. Duplessis is a very good grappler of his own right. But I don't know, man. Khamzat just kind of feels like an unstoppable force right now. That being said, I'm actually going to take Caio Borralho to end middleweight to end 2025 as the middleweight champion. I think Khamzat will beat Duplessis. I think Duplessis is going to beat Strickland in February or so when they fight. I think he's going to come back quick. They're going to make him fight Khamzat in like June in Abu Dhabi. Khamzat's going to beat him. And then in that October card, Caio Borralho in that time frame is going to beat another top 5 guy, maybe Robert Whittaker or Adesanya or something like that. And I think he beats Khamzat Chimaev in the end of 2025 to finish the year as middleweight champion. So give me Khamzat Chimaev to get the belt and not be able to defend it. Crazy, I know, right? Light heavyweight, we're going with Alex Pereira at the top of the Division 10 2024. There's a great chance that he ends 2025 as champion as well, but you got Magomed Ankalaev right there waiting for it. You got Prochazka and Hill going to duke it out soon. Blachowicz is fighting Olberg, and either one of those guys can give Pereira a very tough fight. This is a tough one for me because I think that the matchmaking is going to really determine how things shake out. If they give the Ankalaev fight to Pereira and that fight happens, I feel like Pereira's going to beat Ankalaev, honestly. Ankalaev's kind of an idiot, and I don't expect him to use his grappling much in that fight. I think Blachowicz will beat Olberg. I don't think they're going to rush Blachowicz into another title shot anytime soon, but if he beats Olberg and does it convincingly, I really like Blachowicz's chances against Pereira in a 5-round fight. He had some good success against him in 3 rounds in Utah on short notice, and I think if they give him 5 rounds C-level, I think Blachowicz is a great counter to the ferocity of Pereira, and I think he might be able to get that done. Ultimately, I am going to go with Pereira to finish 2025 as champion because I feel like the matchmaking will lend itself to that, but don't be shocked if Blachowicz gets it done. Now, heavyweight. We have Jon Jones finishing 2024 as the champion, and the fight that's on everybody's mind is Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. Aspinall has looked like an absolute, destroyer of worlds, with the shortest average fight time in UFC history, with, first minute knockouts of most of the top 10 at heavyweight. And I think he's going to beat Jon Jones, man. I really do. I think Aspinall is going to beat Jon Jones. I think he's too big, he's too strong, he's too powerful, he's too well-rounded, and I think he's going to beat Jon Jones. I don't know if it's going to be an early knockout like how all his victories have been. I don't know how the fight's going to play out, but I see Aspinall getting his hand raised. And if Aspinall cannot get that victory, if he loses to Jones, I think Jones will retire, and I think Aspinall will beat whoever else they put there, and we see Aspinall finish 2025 as the heavyweight champion. That's my hot take. So, going down the list just for clarity's sake, strawweight, we're going Zhang Weili. Flyweight, women's flyweight, we're going to go Manon Fiorot. Women's bantamweight, we're going Amanda Nunes. Men's flyweight, Pantoja. Men's bantamweight, Umar. Featherweight, Ilya. Lightweight, Makhachev. Welterweight, Bilal. Middleweight, we're going Caio Borralho. Light heavyweight, we're going Alex Pereira. And then heavyweight, we're going Tom Aspinall. Now, they did have props for this on DraftKings around October. I don't think that they're still available, but if you can find these props anywhere, I'm sure you can get a really crazy payout for this kind of shit. If not, just keep your eye out on these guys. This is going to be my ticket moving forward for 2025 and how I think the year is going to play out. So thank you very much for listening to this short little video we put together here, and let's see if our predictions pay out, man. Yeah, I don't know. We'll find out. I think the strongest people I'm really confident in are Umar Nurmagomedov and Manon Fiorot to win the belt and defend it and finish 2025 as champions. Other than that, we'll see what happens, man. It's a really exciting time to be an MMA fan. So thank you so much for listening, and you guys have a lovely rest of your day. Peace out, y'all. And shouts out to Bloodsport for inspiring me to make this video. Thank you, man. Take it easy, y'all.